I was never the kind of woman people noticed. Not really. I was the kind of woman you walked past in the grocery aisle, the one who smiled too much at cashiers out of loneliness, the one who took the long way home just to stretch the day a little longer. My name is Irene Holloway. I'm 68 years old, and I live in a small town in northern Michigan where the snow always seems to come too early and leave too late. My house is small, nestled between pine trees, with a porch that creaks under its own memory. My husband Robert built it with his own hands in 1978, when the world felt like it would never fall apart. He died 15 years ago, and I've lived here alone ever since. Some days I still wake up thinking I hear his boots by the door. Some days I wish I didn't. I used to dance. Not professionally. Just when no one was looking. I'd close the blinds and play old records. Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, even some Nina Simone. And I'd let my body remember what it once felt like to be alive. I danced barefoot on the hardwood floor, the way I did when Robert held my hand in the living room and told me I was beautiful. He meant it. And I didn't believe him, not then. But I believe him now. After he passed I kept dancing, but the music changed. I stopped playing the records and started dancing in silence. I wanted to remember the steps, not the songs. I wanted to hold something that no longer had a name. There was something sacred about dancing alone. Something that let the pain breathe instead of burying it. I started doing it every Thursday evening without fail. No music, no lights, just movement and memory. And then one Thursday last fall something changed. It had rained all afternoon, the kind of rain that taps on the roof like it's trying to ask permission to come in. I waited until sunset, then pulled the curtains and stepped into the middle of the living room. My feet knew the floor like an old friend. I closed my eyes and began to move, slowly, almost reverently. My arms traced shapes in the air. My spine remembered the rhythm. And then I heard it. Knock. 3 soft knocks at the front door. Froze mid-step. My heart stuttered in my chest. No one ever came by, especially not unannounced. I hadn't had a visitor in weeks. I hesitated, then moved to the door, barefoot and disoriented. When I opened it, there was no one there. Only an envelope. It was sealed in wax, red, smooth, elegant in a way that felt out of place on my doormat. My name was written on the front in graceful handwriting I didn't recognize. I brought it inside, sat at the kitchen table, and stared at it for a long while before opening it. Inside was a single sheet of thick ivory paper. It read, "I saw you dance. Please don't stop. The world needs more of that kind of beauty." That was all. No name. No return address. I didn't know what to make of it. My immediate reaction was embarrassment. Had someone been watching me? But then came something else. Something warmer. Like the first sip of hot tea after coming in from the cold. I wasn't invisible. Someone had seen me. And not just seen me, they'd understood. The next Thursday I danced again. This time with the curtains slightly open. Just a sliver. Just enough to let the world peek in. And the week after that there was another note. A pressed flower taped to a card with the words, "You bring life to stillness." Whoever they were, they never revealed themselves. But every week, without fail, a new note arrived. Sometimes it was a poem. Sometimes a single sentence. Always beautiful. Always kind. The notes became my tether to the world outside. I started dressing differently for my dances. Soft dresses that flowed with me, hair pinned up with care. I began to feel seen, not just watched. I began to feel real again. And then, on a Thursday in March, the note said, "If you ever want to meet, come to the community hall on Sunday. I'll be sitting in the last row at the dance recital. You don't have to. But I'd love to see you in the light." I stared at the note for hours. My heart ached with longing and fear. What if they were lying? What if it ruined everything? But I went. I wore the same soft blue dress I used to wear when Robert and I went dancing in town. I sat in the front, trembling the entire time. After the recital I turned to look. And there they were. Woman. Older than me. Silver-haired, soft smile, eyes full of understanding. She raised a hand. And I walked to her. Her name was Judith. She lived 2 streets over. She'd lost her wife 4 years ago and had seen me dancing from the trail behind my house one night. She told me that watching me move had reminded her that love didn't end. It just changed shape. We talked for hours that day. And we've talked every day since. We don't dance together. Not yet. I still need the solitude for that. But I leave my curtains open wide now. And Judith leaves me poems on Tuesdays instead of Thursdays. Last week she wrote, "You dance like you've forgiven the silence." And maybe I have. Maybe I finally have.